following is a presentation of WLCN 96.3 FM and WLCNonline.com. It is 2 minutes past 4 o'clock, time for the 4 p.m. 411 here on WLCN 96.3 FM. I am Lloyd Kirby, Marketing Manager of WLCN and your host for the next 28-ish minutes here on the 4 p.m. 411. It is the first Tuesday of the month, so we welcome in Lincoln Mayor Tracy Welch Mayor Welch, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me again. I appreciate it.
Sure thing, absolutely. So once again, if you have questions or comments of the mayor, 217-648-5011. No, 5510. I don't know where that number came from. 217-648-5510 is the number to call. Or you can send us an email at 4pm411@wlcnonline.com. Lots of things happening. We get you on the Tuesday right after a council meeting. So
Yep.
I guess the big topic of discussion as of late has been the racetrack and the hours of operation and extensions. And I watched most of the meeting online after the fact. But for those who weren't able to do so, can you kind of tell us where things started and where they wound up?
Yeah, I can summarize it for you. So every year, for the past several years, we've had a good relationship with those that operate the Speedway, the Lincoln Speedway. And those who live in Lincoln, if you've been here for any amount of time, you know that this can be a contentious topic. They make a lot of noise, and some people are okay with that. Some people have concerns with that. But we have a large following of race enthusiasts as well. And this year, Alderman Bateman, in talking with the racetrack owners, because he is a race enthusiast himself, he proposed the idea that for a few of the races, we give a extension of 30 minutes beyond the normal extension to give those races time to complete the races and get things cleaned up. And so that kind of opened up the can for us to have the discussion. And we had really good dialogue, I would say, for the past couple of weeks on it, but we did get a resolution last night.
Okay, so just to be clear, when you say 30 minutes of extension, is that 30 minutes per race, or is that 30 minutes in total for the season?
So typically we give them a bank of 90 minutes. Okay? We say, regardless of how many events are on your calendar, here's 90 minutes of overtime that you can use. Use it all on one, spread it across all of them. We don't care how you do it.
Yeah, the way I think of it is kind of like the old cell phone plans where you get X number of minutes and use it so much, or you can make it on one long call or so forth.
Yep, and no rollover.
Right, right, exactly.
So, but in this particular case, there is a race that's on May 11th. It's a nationally televised race. People come in from several different states and in the local area as well. There's a purse on that one of, I believe, $23,000 for the winner of that race. And so it draws a very large crowd. Well, by the time they start, they have some hot laps they got to do, run the race and get things wrapped up. They traditionally run a little longer. And when you're running a televised event, it doesn't look very good for them to come on and say, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, but due to local curfews, we got to shut the broadcast off. So they're just asking for a little bit of extra time to do it. So if normal curfew is 9, they could use their 30 minutes to get them to 9:30 out of their 90-minute bank. They were asking for an additional 30. So instead of closing at 9 or 9:30, it'd be 10. That's what the ask was.
And when you say it's going to be on television, do you know what that television is? Is it like a live stream, or is it like a racing network somewhere? Or?
It's the way I understand it, I've never watched it, but it's a streaming service called Flow Racing.
Sure. Yeah, they sponsored some races last year, I know. Because thinking of other sporting events, like if you watched, like when the Lady Railers went to the state tournament, instead of 1 minute timeouts, the timeouts were extended, and if there was a certain amount of time left and there was a timeout, it turned out to be a 2-minute timeout. Also, they could get their TV commercials in, so I didn't know if that applied to this particular situation or not.
Well, I don't think that streaming has to do with the times, but I will say that even though the council did approve May 11th to give a 30-minute extension. Traditionally in the past, they've only gone over 10, 15 minutes beyond what they're asking. So I don't think you're going to see that they're going all the way to 10 o'clock. But they want to make sure that they're good stewards and partners with the city. They don't want to disrupt neighbors or constituents. But I think people sometimes don't realize that we're very fortunate to have that speedway in Lincoln. It brings a lot of revenue into the city of Lincoln. And I know that there's that discussion about, is the money worth this, or is the money worth that? Very good questions. But those of us that are charged with the fiscal responsibility of the city, we look at that as an opportunity to put more money back into the roads that you use and various other things in the community.
Sure. Roads, sidewalks.
It's great for our restaurants. It's great for our hotels. And that money goes back into the hotel motel tax, which tourism then promotes our community. So it has a domino effect.
Okay. So once again, we are talking with Lincoln Mayor Tracy Welch, 217-648-5510, the number to call if you have a question or comment for Mayor Welch. As you've been hearing, we've been talking about the racetrack. In addition to the racetrack, with the warmer weather, there are some other events coming up. I know you're hosting an event coming up a little bit later this month as well.
Yeah, the Coffee with the Mayor. These are things that I've been doing about every other month or so. And we're going to do it on April 15th, 9 a.m. at Guest House. So if you have any questions, you have a topic you want to talk about, typically I bring an alderman. This time I'm actually going to bring Superintendent Landers with me.
Oh, okay.
So I'm trying to bring some more knowledge and people that can answer questions for you that are the experts. So come out and join us, have a cup of coffee on me, and we'll talk about whatever's on your mind.
Will you do taxes at the last minute as well? It's April 15th, so.
I don't think anybody wants me doing their taxes.
All right.
My wife does ours.
Do you really want to say that as mayor? And
that's why you got to be transparent.
But you put smart people in those kinds of offices.
Well, and that's why we have Treasurer Conzo.
Exactly,
right?
exactly.
We're all good fiscal stewards and understand being responsible, but that's why some people are experts more than others.
Exactly. Surround yourself with good people.
Yep.
So we'll go ahead and take our first break. Once again, if you have questions or comments, 217-648-5510, the number to call, or you can email us, 4pm411 at WLCNonline.com. We'll be back in 2 minutes with Lincoln Mayor Tracy Welch. And we are back on the 4 p.m. 411 here with Lincoln Mayor Tracy Welch, 217-648-5510, the number to call. Or you can email us at 4pm411 at WLCNonline.com. Be sure to tune in next week here on the 4 p.m. 411. We will have Jamie Jones, who is the Lincoln Memorial Hospital Market Coordinator. So the market is still a little ways off, over a month, but they are trying to get all their ducks in a row for that and has some opportunities for vendors and volunteers and all sorts of things. And tomorrow morning, I think you'll want to tune in to Viewpoint with Bill Gossett at 8:15 as will be a very interesting topic, I think. Are you what would be called a thrill seeker, Mayor Welch?
To an extent.
To an extent. Are you aware we have a new organization in the Logan County area that sort of caters to that?
Depends on what you're talking about.
All right. Well, Bill Gossett will have actually one of the guests from last week, Curtis Fox, who was representing the Logan County Airport. And in addition, we will have a representative from the Illinois Valley Parachute Club.
Oh, I was not aware of that.
Which is now set up shop at the Logan County Airport.
Very cool.
Yeah. So that should be not something you talk about every day around Lincoln or Logan County.
Most people that do that travel up north or do that. So
right. I believe the genesis was they were originally based around maybe the Peoria or the Pekin area, I think, and then they moved a little bit south toward maybe it was Minear, and then now they're here. So
that's great.
Yeah, absolutely. And that, as I mentioned, tomorrow morning at 8:15 with Bill Gossett on the Viewpoint program. But we've got 17 minutes or so, but left with Mayor Welch here. We were talking about some of the upcoming events, coffee with the mayor, and another upcoming event is a big one. I know it's a big one, going to be a big one in our household, is the electronics recycling program, or the week-long event. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, we've done this at the city the past couple of years, and took us a while, and we've been partnered with the county in the past on it. It's a great opportunity for the community in the fact that TVs are hard to dispose of and other electronics, and people that don't want to pay that, they have been known to dump them in ditches and things like that, which creates other problems.
Sure.
So finally got it fine-tuned. It's a week-long program. The hours run from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. out at the Municipal Services Building on Limit Street. And the idea is load up your stuff, and you come through one of the bays. We'll help you unload it, the volunteers there, and then drive away, and we'll take care of disposing of that. So, and I did have a conversation with my department heads today, and we're going to try to squeeze in one day out of that week for some extended hours beyond like 6 or so.
You must have read my agenda. That was my next question.
Well, we've got feedback on that, and Saturdays can get a little hairy. We've done those before, so we think extending it at least one day during the week will give people that opportunity to get through there.
Right, because as you said, the hours are 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., I believe.
8 a.m. to 2 p.m.
2 p.m.
Yep.
So, if you're 40-hour-a-week traditional workday job, that's going to be a little tough to recycle. But it's cool that the city is listening and being responsive to that. But those hours aren't set yet, from what I'm
They're not set. Wednesday was something that got discussed. I'm not sure if it'll be on a Wednesday, but keep an eye on the Facebook page, and then we'll push it out. We'll try to get it out to an update out to the press, and do what we can.
Okay. All right. Very cool. Over the past few months, since you've been coming here on the regular Tuesdays, we've had sort of a number of recurring topics, one of which, with the warmer weather now, the dog park, which has been talked about and then sort of went away and then was resurrected.
Yep.
I know it's not open yet, but are things still on track for an opening here, hopefully in the early spring?
Yeah, they are. We had to work with the vendor. He had to come back and put a remaining section of fence in. We've got that done. We've got the concrete pad for the approach put in. Mr. Landers and his crew are going to be doing some seeding of the park to get the grass ready. Ashley Metelko, who's our administrative assistant, has done some beautiful signage for the park. We got a water fountain to put in yet and a bench, but we're shooting for May 1st.
Okay.
So I know some people have already been up there. I think we talked about it last time.
We did.
I know people are excited about it. Hopefully they'll be a little bit more patient and try not to go in the pen and use it yet. But yeah, May 1st is what we're shooting for.
And why is that important for them not to go in the area just yet?
Well, for many purposes. I mean, namely, we're trying to get the ground ready and the facility ready.
Sure.
And anything that may happen, damage to it, it sets our launch further behind.
Right.
It also creates additional work for people that have to go in and clean up, because we're optimistic that everybody that's going to use it is responsible dog owners, but we anticipate that there may be a couple people that we need to educate and stuff on that matter. And so we just really rather have like a grand opening or ribbon cutting of the park and then just let people enjoy it after that.
And I think last time you were here, you also mentioned with the construction going on, there might be a screw or something that might have
Yeah.
lost its way. And you mentioned the seeding, of course, if you're trying to seed that and then there's people walking on it and using it, that probably is a little counterproductive.
Yeah, well, you're putting a water fountain in, so there's going to be trenching going on for that. There's going to be work going on to put the benches in place. So it's still an active construction zone. Not large scale, of course, but it is. And so we just ask people to be a little patient.
Sure.
May
Okay.
1st is what we're shooting for.
All right. So you heard it here. Maybe not first, but at least you heard it here. Something else that recently took place, the Logan County Pride Fest. I know that event is not, I don't believe it's this month, but they had sort of a change of venue and asked the city for some support on that. So that's going to be taking place. Last year it was at the fairgrounds, I believe, but it's going to be moving for this year. Is that correct?
Yeah, they've outgrown the fairgrounds, and they came to the city council recently, and they asked if they could have a road closure downtown. So the city council approved the block of Kickapoo on the square and the block of Pulaski Street on the square, and they feel that'll be adequate space for them. Trying to do a design so that traffic flow can still get through there, but they anticipate 2,000-3,000 people coming in there. That's huge. It's huge for them. It's huge for business opportunities downtown.
Right.
And so I'm anxious to see how it's gone. Last year at the fairgrounds, it was packed. They had some bad weather come through, but it was packed. So I'm happy for them that they could get their requests through the council and they can enjoy their event.
And as always, I'll bring up mention some recurring topics. Always try to ask you about any new businesses or new things happening. I asked you off air about some of the potential businesses and updates on those, but you mentioned to me about one of the alleys in downtown and some of the construction or cleaning up or upkeep. I'm not sure, maintenance maybe is the best word.
Yeah, this has been an ongoing issue. If you've been through the downtown in the last 18 to 24 months, you've seen that we got an alley blocked off on the alley side of Chicago Street. It's between Kickapoo and Chicago, right across from State Bank. That was closed because the old Johnny's Buy-Sell Trade building there, the facade on the side of the building was in really bad shape. They had bricks falling. Well, that building is now in new ownership. And they've taken care of all those structural issues. So they've opened that alley up. There's also some activity in that alley that makes people feel unsafe. And so we took this as an opportunity to say, you know what? We've talked about this for a while. Now seems like the appropriate time. So we're in the very initial stages of what I'm referring to as the Downtown Safety Initiative. The idea is to get security cameras in the downtown area, get some of these places lit up that make employees feel uncomfortable going out there at night. They don't feel safe even walking in their car. It's an opportunity to actually repair and clean up our alleys and really put our best foot forward. And so I'm working with Streets and Alleys. I'm working with the police department on this and the downtown alderman, and really excited about it. I'm excited to see where this project goes.
And with the Safety Act, I guess, as far as the police department, and we had the sheriff in here talking about it, and all the body cameras and the technology upgrades that have been going on in the department. I mean, it would certainly be appropriate, I think, for the city to kind of upgrade things as well. You talked about cameras downtown, and just kind of making it nicer with lighting and so forth. Is that how do you tackle it? Well, actually, look, we're at 20 after, so let me go ahead and take a break now. But once again, we'll have more with Lincoln Mayor Tracy Welch right after the break. 217-648-5510, the number to call. We've got about 10 minutes left, and we will have more with Mayor Welch right after this. And we are back on the 4 p.m. 411 with Lincoln Mayor Tracy Welch. We were talking about the downtown safety initiative where you were talking about upgrading one particular alley and just with the overall goal being to make the downtown area safer and just so people feel safer there. How do you approach a topic or a subject like that? Do you identify this is a trouble spot and this is a trouble spot, or do you have to start in one place and then sort of snake your way around from there, like everything continuously in a row, or how does that work?
Well, since I've been on council, I've heard feedback periodically about the alleys are dark. Some people don't feel safe walking down them at night, especially like during daylight savings time, it gets darker earlier.
Right.
Some businesses are carrying cash out to banks and just things of that nature. Mm-hmm. There's also businesses that their employees park in those alleys and they get very dark. Right. And so I think the alleys are the areas, the little pockets of town that we often forget about. Mm-hmm. But you're right. Activity. We've got some recent activity in some of those locations, and we've just decided let's try to initiate some safety and lighting in our areas and some surveillance to number one, make people feel safe, give them a place where they can walk. Help the businesses out because there's been some vandalism with those, but also just improve the downtown area.
Okay. All right. So, of course, that's in its infancy, so there's no kind of timetable or deadline dates.
Well, I can tell you we've already started working on it. Surveillance on that particular alley is going to go into place this week.
Oh, okay.
We're talking about some lighting options to get that lit up. But beyond that, we're starting to talk about other places. Mm-hmm. But, we always have to be cost conscious, right?
Sure.
And these things cost money. And so you talked about technology at the police department. Well, our new camera system has technology that allows them to document footage throughout the community as well. It has that capability.
Oh, okay.
This may be where we start that. Mm-hmm. But for now, we're going to start with a cost-effective operation.
Okay. All right. I know you and I frequent some of the same social media groups, and this has nothing to do with what we were just talking about. Yep. But I did see an interesting comment from an individual who made a comment about the area of food trucks, and there seems to be a large number of food trucks and food vendors that are mobile these days. And they inquired about if there was a particular space where all of those folks could coexist at the same time. Is that doable? Is it, I would assume it's legal, but I mean, is there any kind of a liability issue, or is there any sort of a clearance they would need for the city in order to do that? Or
Well, it's funny you bring this up. I had an inquiry about this last week, and the answer is if somebody owns a piece of property and they would like to turn that into a food truck lot, I think it'd be great. Mm-hmm. All they need is a food handler's permit and then whatever the requirements are at the health department. I do know that some people have given me feedback about we had really good food trucks and then they closed down. Mm-hmm. And in doing some research that has to do with health department regulations with the state, they have to be able to prepare their food in a commercial kitchen and things of that nature. Uh-huh. But as long as those food truck operators can get over those hurdles and address the concerns with the health department, I think it's a great idea.
And there would be when you say there would be a food license, you mean for each individual vendor, not necessarily for the property owner.
Correct.
Unless they, of course, were selling some sort of food or items. Yep. All right. So, folks out there, if you want to get on board with that, feel free to start that up. We just got a couple more minutes left. Anything on your mind you want to talk about, or any upcoming projects? Or
Melrose Park is pretty close to opening up. Mm-hmm. We're going to do a grand opening there. If you haven't seen it, go down there and take a look at it. It's on Adams Street. Okay. And kids are already playing down there as of yesterday. I got some photos. We're going to post them online. We're moving on to the next park. We've already got some of the equipment ordered for those. Pretty excited. Still very excited that the council made that substantial contribution to the city by way of their votes. Mm-hmm. I think the constituents will like it when it's done.
Very good. So, and of course, that's one of those sort of parts of an engine that helps sort of drive the community, having good parks and good recreation facilities. Again, just like having good eateries and good motels and good variety of retail establishments, all factors into how well the town does economically and
Yep.
Filling those coffers, as you said, for some of the other projects.
It is. It's a great economic engine. It's another tool that realtors can use when they have prospective home buyers that are looking to move to the area. I think it's great to say that, now we're going to have a dog park. We're going to have brand new parks for people. The park district does a great job of offering things. I just like the county with the ice rink uptown and then the pickleball court. I think these are things that we need to continue doing if we're going to attract people, because the reality of it is we live in the state of Illinois and the population's been going down, and we need to flip that around and start seeing it go up.
And if someone has a particular idea for, wouldn't it be great if Lincoln would have this, or have you ever thought about looking at that? How could they voice those, make their thoughts known on those ideas?
I would say, come to Coffee with the Mayor. Let's talk about it. I'm accessible through Facebook, the city website, city email. I mean, there's multiple ways to get a hold of me. Phone numbers are on the website. Call any of your aldermen. I mean, we're open to any ideas. Some ideas we're not going to be able to do. We've had some that are very lofty ideas that are just a really big pill to swallow, and also very costly. Right. But these other things that we can work into our budget just help improve the city. And I know we're going to wrap up here, but like the racetrack, it's a perfect example of, in the dog park, not everything we do appeals to everybody, right. But we live in a community with a lot of people with varying interests. And so let's broaden our horizons and our mindset a little bit and try to create some of these amenities for other people.
Okay. So, on that note, we'll go ahead and wrap things up on the 4 p.m. 411 and talking about a variety of offerings for the community. Be sure to tune in tomorrow at 8:15 to Viewpoint with Bill Gossett. He will have a representative from the Illinois Valley Parachute Club, which is now housed at the Logan County Airport. And they will talk about all things parachuting, I guess. So thank you, Mr. Mayor, for joining us. Next week, we'll have Jamie Jones from the LMH Market. But for now, this has been the 4 p.m. 411. The preceding program is a presentation of WLCN 96.3 FM and WLCNonline.com.